Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Canadian Real Estate Channel. Hi, I'm Alec, and today I'm here with Abdellah. Hi, Abdellah.
Alec, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. You're going to be talking to us about Hamilton today, is that correct?
As always, my friend. Yeah, good old Hamilton, Ontario. Talk some stats, some eye-opening stuff happening. Obviously, the last couple months, as I'm sure the entire world is seeing. So in terms of the number of sales and average sale price from June 2021 2022, so year over year here, essentially on the number of sales, you are down across the board. And what happened? Do we have there? 4, 6, 8, 11 kind of areas, 11 regions, all within the greater Hamilton area, going into Halton there in Burlington. And then the other kind of glaring stat that we've been kind of tracking are the months of inventory. We were at 0.8 months this time last year. We're almost at 2.5 months worth of inventory. That is a wild statistic. And average days on market has gone up, right? We're seeing some properties that are sitting around, 60, 90 days, 5, 6, 7 different price points, right? Like there's really no magic formula right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Canadian Real Estate Channel. Hi, I'm Alec, and today I'm here with Abdellah. Hi, Abdellah.
Alec, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. You're going to be talking to us about Hamilton today, is that correct?
As always, my friend. Yeah, good old Hamilton, Ontario. Talk some stats, some eye-opening stuff happening. Obviously, the last couple months, as I'm sure the entire world is seeing. So we'll be chatting some details around that. As usual, got some current listings, some off-market stuff, some opportunities, a case study, and then chat a little bit about our team and what we're doing here as of late. So
fantastic. Now, I heard someone tell me recently that they thought Hamilton was comparable to New York. Now, what do you think about that?
Depends who you ask. I think it's a pretty bold.
Is there a lot of niche neighborhoods in Hamilton like there are in New York?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Super pockety here in Hamilton. I think everybody that lives here or invests here knows that. I mean, things could change drastically from neighborhood to neighborhood, especially east versus west on those borders. But yeah, I would definitely agree in that sense that you really have to know your neighborhoods. You got to be in tune with what's going on because it could vary, right? It could make or break some decisions, and always align yourself with the proper professional here.
It sounds like you know what you're doing. How long you been in Hamilton?
Been here since I was 7, so I'll be 36 in a couple of months. Lived on the Hamilton Mountain my entire life. For those of you who know where that is, our office is down in the core here off John Street South, so right in the thick of things. Yeah, know it like the back of my hand. We've been investing here since 2013. We've seen it all. We've done it all on the real estate side, and just continue to grow there. So
yeah, I'm just closing a 19 unit today, actually. So
that's
I know
awesome.
what that's like.
Out where, Alec?
Yeah, in Thunder Bay.
Thunder Bay, nice. Yeah, I know a couple of venturing out that way. So that's awesome, man. 19 units?
19, yeah.
You okay to share some details on that or another story?
Sure, yeah. It's beside the casino on the main strip. There's 2 commercial units. One's a restaurant. The other one, they're trying to do a bar. I think if it was up to me, I'd put a daycare, but that's just because I'm biased and I have a 2-year-old myself.
There you go.
But another thing we talked about quickly was like, you're in a very significant relationship. And for me, my relationship is like one of the most important things in my business. And can you talk a little bit about how you balance like being in a really important, like meaningful relationship and also growing your business?
Yeah. I mean, we've been together a long time. Definitely important. I mean, either with your spouse or your supporting cast, aka your family or your second family at work, but specifically your spouse for sure, right? If they're not kind of in tune or want to be a part of what's going on, and sometimes hours drag to 7, 8, 9 p.m. at night, and knowing that you can kind of focus, come home, and kind of debrief and decompress, that's huge. And always coming home to a positive environment, right? I think that's a great way to put it, Alec. A little outside the box, but it does help, and then kind of spring you to the next day for sure.
Yeah, because is it true you just recently opened this office that you're in now?
Yeah, so we've our sales team has been together the spring of 2020, right? So a couple years and then some. Me and 6 agents, myself and 6 agents, and then we started operating Revel here. We're the Hamilton Central branch, down, like I said, on John Street South. So we've been in this office since June 1st, so hasn't even been 8 weeks yet. Still waiting on some furniture, but
congratulations.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. So it's been a lot of work, but great support around me. And then so we've signed about 9 agents so far to the kind of Revel side of things, and we'll talk about it a little bit kind of near the end of the presentation. In terms of some opportunities that are available between our sales team and the brokerage itself. So we're doing things a little differently, man. It's more boutique style. We're not, trying to be some grander operation. We want, quality over quantity, and being able to help, an agent, a solo agent directly, and, not letting people just be another face in the crowd. So we're trying to do things a little bit more intimately, we'll say. And, so far so good. So we're young and trying to go rapidly here.
Beautiful. Well, I'd love to get intimate with your presentation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, congratulations on the success. It's fantastic to see so many successful people on this channel, and being able to, meet and communicate with you guys is just fantastic.
I appreciate it, Alec. Yeah, super nice to meet as well. And obviously congrats on the big closing. Is it today, right?
Yeah, that's right. Just another Tuesday.
That's it, buddy. Add 19 doors to that portfolio and keep her rocking here. So
do you want to tell us a little bit about this presentation, what you're going to be talking
100%,
about?
100%. So, as viewers have seen me in the past, I think we're going almost a year here doing these, which has been fantastic in every facet of the word. But we'll go through the Hamilton stats. Again, coming off of a blistering 18 plus months. In a seller's market, obviously things are with the interest rates and where they've gone, they're starting to really calibrate. Again, going back to the Hamilton versus pocket thing, it really depends on the neighborhood, but across the board, definitely seeing some decline on price points, on sales activity, with inventory being kind of pre-pandemic levels in terms of the absorption rate. So perfect, guys. Always like to shamelessly promote our brokerage here, but we actually just in the middle of the first time we've ever done it, but in the middle of a billboard campaign with this graphic around the city. We've had some pretty good traction. Kind of cool way to kind of get the name and the brand out there, and bit of a different experience for ourselves being up on those billboards. So for those Hamiltonians, you see this graphic around town for the next month or so. So what I usually do, I basically start with this stat with every presentation here. We like to kind of let the viewers kind of guess, maybe drop some guesses in the comments, however you like to do it. And you can see the steady decline there in 2022 in terms of, keep in mind, this is an average to medium price point. But I mean, there's a bunch of different factors we're going to get into. Essentially, we always like to ask, what do you think is going to happen to sale prices come the fall, or kind of coming out of June, going into the end of the summer? But I'm for sure, regardless how you view the market, it's definitely alarming to an extent, the way those numbers are decreasing there.
Yeah, well, there's opportunities to make money in every market, right? And it's important, like you said, to work with the right professionals. And I love making predictions, but we don't have a crystal ball. You know what I mean? So there's been a market correction that's been coming for some time because of the unnatural growth in prices that happened at the beginning of the pandemic.
Exactly, right? It's just that synthetic growth that we had, right? There was, obviously, as everybody knows, there's a variety of different factors there. I think, obviously, as interest rates have, starting to climb back up, and the quote unquote fight against inflation is happening, it's natural, it's historical that purchasing power is going down. I don't think that's the end all to be all, in my opinion. Kind of like to think a little bit deeper that, right? It's fear. There's panic. There's people that essentially, when we were coming out of February, March, April, and then heading into our first rate hike, people are already committed to a property on the purchasing side, right? So they were left with either you sell your home at a price you probably didn't intend to sell it at, because hey, look, I've bought something on the other side and I want to avoid a lawsuit that you'll essentially won't have a stand, you won't stand a chance in. Depending on the situation and the deposit amount, etc. So there was that wave for sure that was more just like, hey, I need to sell at whatever price point I get, with the best terms that I can get. So I think we've definitely gotten past that panic kind of setting. And now people have been able to kind of to digest, step back, be like, okay, my plan was to buy. Obviously, you have to re-strategize. I don't care who you are, right? If you're a first-time investor or an investor with deep pockets, you got to be, most of us have to be prudent and step back and look at what that purchasing power looks like, what the refinance numbers look like, right? Because obviously that's changed as well. And to me, it's all relative. As of late, we have, last kind of couple of weeks, as far as we've seen, definitely some confidence back in the market. Unless you're stuck at Pearson, not flying anywhere, you're trying to buy real estate, right? So, but I think we're past that. I think we're, kind of gradually moving, into a more, I wouldn't say balance, but it's starting to go kind of both ways in some instances. Like I've been in competition a bunch of times the last couple of weeks, we're seeing people going back to the table. So in terms of the number of sales and average sale price from June 2021, 2022, so year over year here, I looked at these stats prior just to kind of wrap my head around it. Essentially, on the number of sales, you are down across the board. And what many do we have there? 4, 6, 8, 11 kind of areas, 11 regions, all within the greater Hamilton area, going into Halton there in Burlington. So some down more considerable than others. If we're looking at Hamilton, just kind of the between West, East, Center, and Mountain, you're seeing some big dips there for sure. A number of sales, well into the double digits, especially the Hamilton Mountain, where you saw some of the most ferocious kind of price points during the height of the market, especially with, these all brick bungalows that are so easy to convert that I've been preaching for God knows how long. Average sale price, right? We're still coming out of 30 to 40% increase in a lot of areas, right? So I think I mentioned this maybe even 3 months ago where we started kind of seeing this movement, and we're still up year over year, right? We can see that from 2021 to 2022. In some instances, not a great amount, but it's still going to take some time to get to those pre-pandemic levels for sure. But the proof's in the pudding here with the June stats for sure. More of a deeper look here in terms of sales activity and dollar volume. So you've seen some huge minus differences there with sales activity and dollar volume. 340 less sales. Dollar volume, 220 million. New listings is where you start going the other way, right? Everybody kind of rushing to the market. And the other caveat is essentially the spring market, right? Regardless what the interest rates look like, it's a natural time of year that people sell. Plain and simple, right? Life doesn't stop. It always happens. So that's kind of like another, now we're deeper into the summer. And then the other kind of glaring stat that we've been kind of tracking are the months of inventory, right? So what we call in our industry the absorption rate. And to kind of those viewers who don't know what that is essentially if there was no further injection of listings into the market, if you took a screenshot, how long would it take to sell? All right, we were at 0.8 months this time last year. We're almost at 2.5 months worth of inventory. That is a wild statistic. So essentially, we're going back slowly but surely back into the 2019 side of things, and then kind of all follows there. Again, median price, you're still going to see the uptick there, just because it's isolated in June and not kind of across the board. And average days on market, has gone up, right? We're seeing some properties that are sitting around, 60, 90 days, 5, 6, 7 different price points, right? Like there's really no magic formula right now. You're basically kind of, depending on your strategy, people still holding offers and, kind of regressing their price point, doing that same old strategy. People are just kind of telling you, hey, this is what I think it's worth, right? And there's kind of a cluster of like fire sales and actual legit data. It's really, really tough to kind of digest a lot of what's going on out there. So, I mean, this all just comes with aligning yourself with a professional in your area to make sure that they are doing the proper research and you are listing your home. I think very important now more than ever at a proper price point where it's not sitting around for a couple months and you're just forced to work backwards on the price. So
yeah, what would you say to someone like they considered selling their home because the prices went up so quickly and they didn't need to sell, and they're thinking like, oh, should I stay on the market? Should I wait?
Yeah, so somebody that's kind of got caught there, basically listed and then is working through the shift essentially.
Yeah.
It's, to me, it's super case by case, right? I think I've said this. I always try to be transparent in how I speak about real estate, whether it's on this channel or with colleagues or my team. It's do what's right for your client, right? It's how important is this move? If I am like, there is no way I am advising somebody to test the market right now. Absolutely not. I think that's it's essentially just not going to work in your favor unless, of course, there's outliers, right? Legal multis, the luxury side of things. There's depending on the area, your location, right? There's always going to be those outliers that always kind of work through any shift. But to me, it's a personal conversation, right? If somebody got caught during that shift, unless you absolutely have to sell because you have 3 or 4 children or you're in financial distress, God forbid, I wouldn't be recommending kind of anybody to do so. Unless or on the investor side, if you're looking to cash out, right, and you have such a large equity spread, you've owned it for God knows how many years, and at your lowest sale price, you're still super happy, then for sure, right? But it's all case by case, right? Really depending on the type of client we're dealing with. This is where we're going to start just talking about some opportunities. We do this on every episode that we shoot. This one just coming to market. So it's down on Sherman Avenue South. Pretty well sought after area. Still not fully kind of saturated, right? There's still some good price points to be had there. This is a client of ours that picked it up last year, and his work just finished up renovations. Basement unit potential, you really have to be a little creative there to get the proper ceiling height. We have projected rents here at $4,100 a month. It's a good size too. It's not well over, but just over 2,000 square feet. 1 bed, 1 bath main floor, and then the second floor and loft unit is a 3-bed, 2-bath combination. Some real nice finishes in there. So really good live-in rent situation, I think, as with any multi in the city now, just because of where rental rates are. So just something we're bringing to the market that our clients just finished up here on Sherman Avenue South. I think if you've watched this or watched me here a few times, this one, you definitely have to have the right appetite for it. It's a big project with a big outcome for sure. Legal triplex conversion, so in Zone E, for those Hamiltonians that know their codes, allows for that density. We have the projected rents there at $6,150. Since this was purchased, the new windows have been put in. Boiler has been replaced with a two furnace forced air system. A lot of lumber work as well. So great house hack as well. Seeing a lot more of these kind of triplex approaches with the live-in rents. Again, just now instead of one, having 2 rental units help out with your carrying costs. This one is gutted to the studs at the moment, but with Hamilton recently passing and alleviating some parking bylaw, some kind of parking bylaw details. That these have become a lot easier to convert, whether duplex, triplex. Making sure we have the right zoning in place and kind of opening up the pathway to the detached SDUs or garden suites, however you want to address those. Right, we're seeing a lot of our investors and colleagues starting to have some success getting permits in place for the detached SDUs, creating these units that are bringing in at least a couple $1,000 a month here in Hamilton.
Can you talk about cap rates real quick? And I just want to say that, like, to our viewers that are kind of new and they're looking for their first home and they're considering an investment opportunity, like both of the properties you just showed, and I believe this one would also be eligible for the first-time home buyers, right, with the CMHC, if you went in and lived there yourself. So
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah. Like I said, we're seeing a lot of that, Alec. Cap rates. Me personally, I don't really start talking about cap rates until we get into the kind of calm side of the res. But what you want to be striving for, I mean, when we're talking triplexes, maybe quads, right? You're around 5.5, 6, and then also when you're getting into the commercial side of it all, right? Where that's depends on your entry point, your exit. Ideally want to exit around 4.5% on a cap rate. I truly haven't ran that cap rate numbers on that particular triplex, but could definitely put something together for viewers that were maybe leave something in the comments. And then we actually do have a flyer drawn up and we could definitely send it out. That's in great detail.
But do they vary hugely, like in the Hamilton market?
Do they vary hugely? I wouldn't put it that way. No, and it depends, right? Underappreciating versus kind of market value, but no, I think they sit between the 4 or 5% mark on something that's closer to at market value. But I don't think I wouldn't say there's a huge spread. Appreciate that. I like talking cap rates a little bit more this day and age, just because we do have a lot of investors that are trying to get into the 8, 10 plus unit side of things, which is always exciting. So this next one here we've had on the market for a couple weeks or so, 91 Waterloo Street in Brantford. These were actually side-by-side semis. They are side-by-side semis on one ownership. And so if you're seeing the windows there, it's basically left and right unit. Great lot, 39 by 162. Brantford's really picking up too on the garden suite kind of approach on things. It's got rear parking. You see that just off the right side of the picture. That's the neighbor's garage. We're kind of, the way we describe it, you can definitely kind of emulate that on this parcel and do a garden suite or any sort of a detached SDU down the road. This one's all separate services, which is nice. Hydro, gas, water is all separated between the units, so leave that all on the tenant. It doesn't have forced air here, but they do run off of some electric baseboards and a gas fireplace, which again will be up to the tenant there. So keep that off the books. Smaller units, but we've had people look at this mostly on the first-time investor front. And again, I think with anywhere in the Golden Horseshoe, the whole live and rent is just essentially where you have to be if you're just trying to enter the market here. But a solid one, I think, in my opinion. Renovations could definitely be had, or you could just easily kind of clean it up, give it a nice paint job, and throw some tenants in and do without any major rentals for a while. We've seen this one before. This is coming to the end of the project. Another kind of rare opportunity in a legal triplex in St. Clair. Super sought after, right at the kind of the base of the escarpment there. 2 seconds to get up to the mountain, out to the King and Main corridor, so not too far from the future LRT there. This one was bought as a legal triplex, was permitted. The renovation was permitted properly to obviously keep that essence. It's got triple car parking in the back. No stone left unturned here. Everything was done top to bottom. I think those rents are somewhat conservative. I think we could overachieve in that sense.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So don't never like to we do a lot of leasing here just naturally because of the amount of investors we deal with. So, but always like to give people a little bit of a buffer. Again, those mean sound like a broken record. Great house hack here. St. Clair, unbelievable area, super scenic, great big homes, very well maintained throughout the neighborhood. And this one again has everything you need. All big units, one bed in the main, one bed in the basement, one on the main, and combination of 3-bed, 2 full bathrooms across the second floor and loft.
Yeah, these are amazing opportunities.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, those price points, unfortunately, just where Hamilton is, and we've definitely even shifted those numbers just to kind of reflect where the where a general consumer would look at it with the new rates. So we've ran those numbers as well. This one is on the market as well. This is my all-time favorite, the all brick bungalows on the mountain. It's got a detached garage. In this case, current tenants, AAA tenants, bringing in about $4,150 a month plus hydro, gas and water are being currently paid by the landlord. Again, on the turnover, you're seeing a lot more and more these days where, despite only having separate hydro meters, there's a lot of tenants that are still splitting the gas and water, keeping it in their own names, and then just doing the kind of the reimbursement there at a 60-40, 70-30 split, depending the amount of heads per unit. And it's been successful for sure, and just kind of where the heat is behind the rental market. But this one's like I said, this one's on the East Mountain. We've adjusted for the price here as well. These at the height of the market were surpassing 7 figures with your eyes closed. So a nice turn and go, or get vacant possession of 1 unit if you were ideally looking to move in here. So this one is a bit of a case study, recent deal that we just went firm on for some clients of ours. This one kind of borders the Stinson and Corktown neighborhood. If you guys watched the video where I was at a 6-plex in the Corktown neighborhood at 25 and 27 Grove Street, maybe a month or 2 ago that we aired, kind of right across the street from there. It's in a corridor that allows for this e-zoning that I've mentioned a couple times, which again is super attractive to investors because of the allowable density that's allowed. This one's cool in a sense where off the right side there's Stinson, you have parking even off the rear, off the laneway. Our clients are going to be pursuing a garden suite. So we have the planner going out there next week to do an assessment, and you can see that in the description. So that this one was purchased for $710. I think pretty great deal, kind of considering the climate out there. And projected reno, I know probably looks alarming, but that's kind of gutting and legalizing the current structure into 2 units. It's actually got a cool attached garage too at the back that the client's going to blow out that wall and kind of intercept that into more square footage. And again, really, a good size. This is a corner lot, and there's a laneway that abuts it off the rear, which we're going to use to our advantage in creating the garden suite. So could very well be, upwards of the 5 Maplewood pricing, probably more by the time this is all said and done. So pretty cool project, and we're super excited for these guys.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to realize how much potential something has when they're going into it, right? And I think the way that you're speaking, it's very clear that you know what the options are, right? You talked about how you've been investing in this market since 2013, and it seems really, really beneficial for people to know what they can accomplish, and start with the end in mind.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I love the way you put that, right? It's kind of, here's what we want to do. Let's work backwards. What needs to be in place to get this done. I take great pride in kind of studying the zoning and zoning codes, and always picking our planner's brain in terms of what's going on, right? It's ever changing in Hamilton. And, and I like to think like I've bestowed that on our team as well, because, now more than ever, zoning is, it's the end all to be all, right? Especially, I think a lot of investors more than ever are shifting into just a purely legal mindset. So, we take great pride in doing our due diligence. We, make sure that we were super well educated in what we're getting our clients into before they pull the trigger. So we have a really good system going, and even one where we can get permits ahead of time and not wasting time before the closing date is upon us. But yeah, definitely just kind of doing our research and make sure we know the grand picture of what they're trying to do, whether it's now or in 2 years from now. And in Hamilton, there's a lot of change that comes with zoning. And, we saw it a few years ago with the LRT and the TOC zonings that arose with the LRT corridors and whatnot. So I just like to think we take great pride in becoming the experts. It's not just, hey, is this a good deal? What's my ARV? It's like, okay, what can I do with it in 3, 4, 5 years? I mean, to the best of our ability, right? Like you said earlier, nobody has a crystal ball, but we like to think outside the box, with every project that we get ourselves involved in.
Yeah, clearly. And I think what's really, really, just before we get onto this, what's
Yeah.
really, really wonderful about like the way that you're presenting everything is essentially like these markets are all performing like differently, but they do have similar trends all over Canada. And even though we're having a market correction, we're still in a housing crisis, right? So we don't want people to forget that like creating housing, affordable housing and quality housing is still the top priority for, real estate professionals nationwide. And even as things become, you were using terms like slowing down, they're not going to come to a halt, right? We got more and more people coming into the country for all types of reasons. Canada's very welcoming of, educated people from all over the world coming in, and that's gonna actually increase over the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's perfectly said. I mean, immigration isn't going anywhere. I think this city is really prepping for what's to come. Finally, these kind of bylaws just keep softening. We're able to intensify these properties that should be intensified, right? Like at the end of the day, we have no choice, right? But to get on board here, I mean, the amount of condos that are going up is it's incredible, and bring a lot of doors to the city. And obviously we're going through a tumultuous time right now. It's we're coming out of something we've never seen before, and I mean we're always just trying to digest and trying to figure creative ways to keep the ball rolling and growing portfolios. So, and then our last couple slides here, guys. So our Revel Hamilton Central brand, like I said, it's been up and running for almost a couple months now. We're a team an office of 16 and growing, trying to hit on that boutique style, kind of intimate growth pattern here. So we are hiring solo agents. So, investor focus is a bonus for sure. I think in my opinion, with any realtor, right, if you have that footprint in the investment world, I think everything else becomes easier. We are looking to hire some agents and get a few on board before the end of the year. So if anybody out there, I was thinking of getting their license or whatever the case was, feel free to reach out and we can talk about an opportunity. And then essentially on our sales team as well, on the Madge Realty Group, I think an investor prerequisite here is a must. But we are looking to hire a team salesperson, help us take on our ever-growing database here. So couple plugs there on our end.
Yeah, well, I loved your presentation. Like, great job. I really loved how you said like you're looking for people that are investor focused, because what I've seen is like one of the main reasons, whether it's our peers or our clients or anyone, goes from renting a home to owning a home is because they want to build equity. And of course, there's a multitude of reasons, right? People buy real estate, with a lot of emotion, which is important. But if they know that they're getting into something that they can then exit, resell 5, 10, 15, 25 years down the road, and it's going to help move them towards retirement, or it's going to help them put their kids through school, you know what I mean? That's why it becomes significant in any part of the market, regardless of what your clientele is, that you're providing them with, like we discussed, something more than just an after repair value.
Yeah, I love the way you're describing all this. So with my perspective, I'm super passionate. Like we're all self-employed here, right? I have no pension. RSPs don't exist. I mean, they could, but they don't, right? I mean, to me, it's my end all to be all is real estate, and love the way you put it, right? It's, you never know when you need something for a rainy day. University is only getting more expensive on the education side, and it's just about creating. I hate like that freedom word gets thrown out a lot, a little kind of cliche, but it really does provide that. Like you're, especially tenants paying down your mortgage and being able to do that for your family. It's been the end all to be all for me. So I'm just passionate about it more than most.
Well, I absolutely enjoyed our conversation today.
Great, love the energy there.
Well, thanks. And
Yeah.
of course, now I know who to reach out to if I see any deals in Hamilton. Like you said, our team, we're looking for kind of the largest assets we can get, our portfolios. We like people that are unloading their whole portfolio. You know, when I say that a 19 unit is just another Tuesday, like it's interesting how it's become like, oh, it's just another 19 unit or another 20 unit. You know what I mean? For me, I'm excited by the chase. I'm always looking for the big fish, like the Babe Ruth. I want to hit the home runs, and you know, these 20 units, they're still moving our business forward quite well.
We're all about it now. We're kind of shifted our, you know, we've had everything in our portfolio, and I think we do a lot of investing in the States now. Down in Florida, we're in the middle of a big project, building three like luxury Airbnbs in North Naples, and we got another one under contract right now. But I think anything here is probably 8 units plus that we're trying to dive into. But yeah, my ear's always to the ground here, Alex. So
excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from Abdellah. This is the Canadian Real Estate Channel. I'm Alec, and bye, love ya.